Okay, first on the list is the Great Mosque here of Isfahan. It's easy just to know this. There's obviously the Masjid e Jameh. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. I apologize for you. Just note that it's the Great Mosque of Isfahan. We have several great mosques, so you have to know it's in Isfahan. If you look at this information, you'll notice there are a lot of different dynasties and cultures associated with it. It's first built in 700 CE as Islam really begins to spread, and then additions in the 14th, 18th, 20th centuries. The main thing, or one of the main things that you'll need to know about this mosque, is that it was continually added onto and expanded and modified over 1,000 years. And each new ruler, each new dynasty would add their own elements to it. So it's kind of a museum of different styles. So it's not just one style. There are very, very many different styles in it. You'll notice from the outside here, and this is just one part of it, we have that amazing tile work that I've mentioned that you should definitely know with respect to Islamic art. Um, let's see here. So this is basically what I've just said. Expansion over the and modification over 1,000 years, and it's an architectural documentary. And what we're talking about, the area of the world, is it's Iran, but this would be the Persian Empire. So we want to think about Persia, uh, currently known as Iran, right? So this is also called the Friday Mosque. Sometimes people refer to it as the Friday Mosque. All right. So we have an aerial view. What you might notice are all of these little kind of bubble wrap looking effects. You should recognize some of that. We saw some of that on the roof of Great Mosque of Salim, right? All of these are domes inside, right? Little domes. Some of them you can see have an oculus, so oculi for plural, to let light in, right? So what's also noticeable or notable about this mosque is that it was considered kind of a major hub in the city. Currently, there's only one or two passageways that you can use to get in and out of the mosque, but there used to be many passageways to get in and out of the mosque, and so you could. It was kind of used as a kind of a central kind of crossroads. There are markets nearby, and so it was a really major part of the city, so not just for religious, spiritual purposes, but it was, kind of as a hub for marketing and exchange of monies and goods, not in the mosque, but obviously outside the mosque. So we can see here a building that is, or that is integrated into the life of the city. So you could get where into the mosque no matter where you were in this part of the city, it was easy to get in. That's not true anymore. So it is, it's not just a place for prayer alone, right? It facilitated public mobility and commercial activity, according to Khan Academy. So just a little bit about this mosque. It was, we see, as I mentioned, a variety of different styles, and through those variety of styles, we see lots of different kinds of decorations produced by complex brick patterns. We mentioned complex, or you should have noted from the article about Mosque of Salim, the complex brick patterns in the Mosque of Salim, and we also have that here. I'll show you a slide that demonstrates that. So it's not just about putting brick on brick on brick like in ashlar masonry, but putting the bricks together in such a way that they create designs. We see lots of carved stucco work, and stucco is kind of like plaster. It's made of lime and sand and water. It's very durable. I've mentioned stucco before with respect to the Court of the Lions. Those columns were made of stucco, remember, because they weren't weight bearing. And also we have lots of tile work, as you can see, but that the floral and the geometric motifs, and we'll also see a lot of calligraphic script, right? Let's see here. So this is the Qibla Iwan, and I haven't told you what an Iwan is, but I will in just a moment. But you can notice with the Qibla Iwan, we have the Mukurnas, right? We remember Mukurnas, right? Um, and when we think about the Isfahan, Great Mosque of Isfahan, we'll mostly want to think about the Seljuk, right? The Seljuk dynasties and the Safavid dynasties. They all these guys contributed, but these two dynasties were the most prominent in their contributions to the expansion of the mosque. And yes, as I just said, so we look at this place as being like the heart of Persian culture. The cultural heart of it in terms of language, art, and architecture. So Persia was the heart of that, not just in that area of the world, which is now known as Iran, but throughout most of the Eastern Islamic world. We look to Persia for like as the heart of culturally of the place. Okay, so you can see here I mentioned some complex brickwork there, right? You can't see it very well, but you can see some patterning with the brickwork. So initially there was just a regular hypostyle hall style mosque, and we're familiar with that, right? Think back to the Great Mosque of Cordoba, right? Hypostyle hall and the courtyard, and that's it. But when the Seljuks took Isfahan as their capital, they transformed the regular hypostyle hall into a 4 Iwan mosque. A 4 Iwan mosque, and that's an that is an Iwan. You can see it right here, but you can also see there's a space here and this space here, and you can't see one, but there's also another space here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 Iwans, 4 Iwans, and I'll give you a better definition of a Iwan in just a second. An Iwan is a large vaulted space, right, that's opened at one end, and it had long been a symbol of authority, of power, of political power, even in pre-Islamic times. And so when the Seljuks put Iwans into the mosque, right, into the courtyard, they were making a statement about associating the political rule with the spiritual rule. So encouraging earthly rule and divine authority, kind of putting those two ideas together. And the 4 Iwan mosque became the most popular style of mosque in the Eastern Islamic land. So we're talking about Iran, Iraq, what's now is Iran, right? Iraq, what's now Iraq, and Saudi Arabia, et cetera, et cetera. You'll notice that also, I believe that the mosque surrounding the Kaaba is a 4 Iwan. We might go back and look at that. So again, Seljuk Turks are the ones that we want to think about mostly, right? In terms of the Seljuk and the Safavids. I said Safavids, yes, Safavids. In terms of contributing to the development of the mosque. And yes, I mentioned replacement of the traditional hypostyle mosque with the 4 Iwan plan. I mentioned complex brick patterns. Let's take another look at the complex brick patterns. Let's see. Let me actually pop forward. Here we go. Complex brick patterns, right? So these designs are made not with mosaics, not with tile work, but with brick, right? So pretty cool. Not this here so much. That's, well, partially brick. Okay. So this, here we go, a layout, right? The 4 Iwans, 1, 2, 3, 4. The mosque also has in it private chapels, a school, a library, and a treasury. I don't know that it still uses a treasury today, probably not. But that should also remind you a little bit of the Mosque of Salim, because it's not just a place of worship, it also has other parts to it, especially the schools. You already know about Mukurnas, and they were added to the Qibla Iwan in the 14th century. Yes. This Qibla Iwan was initially commissioned by a vizier, which is a high-ranking Islamic official in service of right, in service of the ruler. Um, Behind this Iwan is this domed space that was reserved only for the ruler. Okay, so the vizier who I might be mispronouncing that. I apologize if I am. The vizier who commissioned this eventually fell out of favor, and he was replaced by another vizier who commissioned, let me go forward, another dome space opposite the domed space that was created here, okay, in order to kind of show his political the political rivalry, right? So we can see that we do not just get a variety of styles, artistic styles in this mosque, but it also shows us kind of political changes as well. So again, this dome was initially commissioned by an official who fell out of favor, and then the official who replaced him commissioned this smaller dome, but still directly opposite, but still very beautiful, very powerful. Let me go back here. We have tiles that were added in the 17th century. You know where you've seen Makernas before. Again, the courtyard, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 Iwans, and we have a large courtyard. We're used to seeing courtyards with mosques. A large courtyard that provided also a tranquil space, ideally, for the worshipers, right? Okay. Let's see here. The 4 Iwans are surrounded by hypostyle prayer halls. So basically, we have hypostyle prayer halls in here, in addition to schools, libraries, etc. Some of the hypostyle prayer halls have flat ceilings. Others have vaulted ceilings, as we've seen here, right? Some of them, as I already noted, have the smaller domes with the oculi that produce some kind of dramatic lighting. We know what hypostyle halls are. The Qibla Iwan is obviously the largest Iwan, and it's got the large dome. The reason should be obvious because it is the Qibla Iwan. It is the one closest to Mecca, more specifically the Kaaba, right? Here's an example of a hypostyle, right? Some more complex brickwork there. There's the bubble wrap, right? Qibla Iwan dome, very large. And then the opposite dome, right, created by a different official. Another view, better picture than the previous one. So what I'd like you to do now is to watch this video so you get a really good sense of actually what it looks like, because I know these pictures are not great. So the video should give you a better sense of the beauty of the mosque. Thank you very much.